Hi, scholars. Make sure that you have watched the first two videos on YouTube that I put up last week for the one and only Ivan before you're starting this today. We're going to continue to talk about our themes as we read this book. Remember, themes are ideas that we think about the whole time that we are reading and kind of look for ways that we can connect with them. So we're also going to see these themes in our close reading text. We're keeping them in mind today. Our themes are identity and change, isolation, and empathy. Today we're focused on the idea of isolation, which is being alone or being lonely. We'll focus on that theme today of isolation. I also wanted to just think back to our characters. We've got a lot of characters in this book, and there's a few that we have met so far. So there's Ivan, who's our main character. He's the silverback gorilla, and he's also the narrator. He's the one who tells the story to us from his point of view. We have Stella, who is an elephant and is Ivan's friend. So this is Stella. We have Bob, who is a dog and is also Ivan's friend. And then we have Mac. And Mac is a human. He's the owner of the mall, and he sometimes dresses up like a clown or like someone who's leading the circus. So he is in charge of everything at the mall and built the domains that all these friends live in. All right, so let's go ahead and pull back up our book. We're at the top of the page that says Gone. In your book, it should be on page 14. All right, we're ready to read. Thinking about, keep that idea of isolation in your mind as we read. Why would we be thinking about being alone or loneliness today? Keep that in mind. Some animals live privately, unwatched, but that is not my life. My life is flashing light and pointing fingers and uninvited visitors. Inches away, humans flatten their little hands against the wall of the glass that separates us. The glass says you are this and we are that, and that is how it will always be. Humans leave their fingerprints behind, sticky with candy, slick with sweat. Each night a weary man comes to wipe them away. Sometimes I press my nose against the glass. My nose print, like your fingerprints, is the first and last and only one. The man wipes the glass, and then I am gone. The top of the next page, artist. Here in my domain, I do not have much to do. You can only throw so many meatballs at humans before you get bored. A meatball is made by rolling up dung until it's the size of a small apple, then letting it dry. I always keep a few on hand. For some reason, my visitors never seem to carry any. In my domain, I have a tire swing, a baseball, a tiny plastic pool filled with dirty water, and even an old TV. I have a stuffed toy gorilla, too. Julia, the daughter of the weary man who cleans the mall each night, gave it to me. The gorilla has empty eyes and floppy limbs, but I sleep with it every night. I call it Not Tag. Tag was my twin sister's name. Julia is almost 10 years old. She has hair like black glass and a wide half-moon smile. She and I have a lot in common. We are both great apes, and we are both artists. It was Julia who gave me my first crayon, a stubby blue one, slipped through the broken spot in my glass along with a folded piece of paper. I knew what to do with it. I'd watched Julia draw. When I dragged the crayon across the paper, it left a trail in its wake like a slithering blue snake. So in the picture over here, we can see some of Ivan's drawings. Julia's drawings are wild with color and movement. She draws things that aren't real, clouds that smile and cars that swim. She draws until her crayons break and her paper rips. Her pictures are like pieces of a dream. That's all right. I'm not drawing for them. I'm drawing for me. Oh, wait. I missed some words, sorry. I can't draw dreamy pictures. I never remember my dreams, although I sometimes awaken with my fists clenched and my heart hammering. My drawings seem pale and timid next to Julia's. She draws the ideas in her head. I draw the things in my cage, simple items that fill my days. An apple core, a banana peel, a candy wrapper. I often eat my subjects before I draw them. But even though I draw the same thing over and over again, I never get bored with my art. When I'm drawing, that's all I think about. I don't think about where I am, about yesterday or tomorrow. I just move my crayons across the paper. Humans don't always seem to recognize what I've drawn. They squint, cock their heads, and murmur. I'll draw a banana, a perfectly lovely banana, and they'll say, it's a yellow airplane, or it's a duck without wings. That's all right. I'm not drawing for them. I'm drawing for me. Max soon realizes that people will pay for a picture made by a gorilla, even if they don't know what it is. Now I draw every day. My work sells for $20 a piece, 25 with a frame, at the gift shop near my domain. If I get tired and need a break, I eat my crayons. Top of the next page, shapes and the clouds. I think I've always been an artist. Even as a baby, still clinging to my mother, I had an artist's eyes. I saw shapes in the clouds and sculptures in the tumbled stones at the bottom of the stream. I grabbed at colors, the crimson flower just out of reach, the ebony bird streaking past. I don't remember much about my early life, but I do remember this. Whenever I got the chance, I would dip my finger into cool mud and use my mother's back for a canvas. She was a patient soul, my mother. So Ivan has connected, he loves making art now with crayons and paper in his domain. But when he was little living in the jungle, he also loved to make art, but he would draw with mud on his mom's back. The top of the next page says imagination. Someday, I hope I can draw the way Julia draws, imagining worlds that don't yet exist. I know what most humans think. They think gorillas don't have imaginations. They think we don't remember our past or ponder our futures. Come to think of it, I suppose they have a point. Mostly, I think about what is, not what could be. I've learned not to get my hopes up. I wonder why that is. He's learned not to get his hopes up. The loneliest gorilla in the world. When the Big Top Mall was first built, it smelled of new paint and fresh hay, and humans came to visit from morning till night. They drifted past my domain like logs on a lazy river. Lately, a day might go by without a single visitor. Max says he's worried. He says I'm not cute anymore. He says, Ivan, you've lost your magic, old guy. You used to be a hit. It's true that some of my visitors don't linger the way they used to. They stare through the glass, they click their tongues, they frown while I watch my TV. He looks lonely, they say. Not long ago, a little boy stood before my glass, tears streaming down his mouth, his smooth red cheeks. He must be the loneliest gorilla in the world, he said, clutching his mother's hand. At times like that, I wish humans could understand me the way I can understand them. It's not so bad, I wanted to tell the little boy. With enough time, you get used to almost anything. So I'm kind of connecting this back to our theme of isolation. Ivan is all alone. And when humans see him, when people see him, they think he must be so lonely. Ivan says, he's not so bad. You get used to it. Even though he's all alone, he's isolated from other gorillas. The next section is called TV. My visitors are often surprised when they see the TV Mac put in my domain. They seem to find it odd, the sight of a gorilla staring at tiny humans in a box. Sometimes I wonder, though, isn't that the way they stare at me, sitting in my tiny box? Just as strange. My TV is old. It doesn't always work, and sometimes days will go by before anyone remembers to turn it on. I'll watch anything, but I'm particularly fond of cartoons, with their bright jungle colors. I especially enjoy it when someone flips on a banana peel. Bob, my dog friend, loves TV almost as much as I do. He prefers to watch professional bowling and cat food commercials. Bob and I have seen many romance movies too. In a romance, there is much hugging and sometimes face licking. I have yet to see a single romance starring a gorilla. We also enjoyed old Western movies. In a Western, someone always says, "This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Sheriff." In a Western, you can tell who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and the good guys always win. Bob says Westerns are nothing like real life. The next page is the nature show. I had been in my domain for 9,855 days, alone. For a while, when I was young and foolish, I thought I was the last gorilla on Earth. I tried not to dwell on it. Still, it's hard staying upbeat when you think there are no more of you. Then one night, after I watched a movie about men in black hats with guns and feeble-minded horses, a different show came on. It was not a cartoon, not a romance, not a Western. I saw a lush forest. I heard birds murmuring. The grass moved. The trees rustled. Then I saw him. He was a bit threadbare and scrawny, and not as good looking as I am, to be honest. But sure enough, he was a gorilla. As suddenly as he'd appeared, the gorilla vanished, and in his place was a scruffy white animal called, I learned, a polar bear, and then a chubby water creature called a manatee, and then another animal and another. All night I sat wondering about the gorilla I'd glimpsed. Where did he live? Would he ever come to visit? If there was a he somewhere, would there be a she as well? Or was it just the two of us in all the world, trapped in our own separate boxes? The top of the next page says Stella. Stella always says she is sure I will see another real live gorilla someday, and I believe her because she is even older than I am and has eyes like black stars and knows more than I will ever know. Stella is a mountain. Next to her, I am a rock, and Bob is a grain of sand. So they're describing Stella is so large, like a mountain. She's an elephant. Every night when the stores close and the moon washes the world with milky light, Stella and I talk. We don't have much in common, but we have enough. We are huge and alone, and we both love yogurt raisins. Sometimes Stella tells stories of her childhood, of leafy canopies hidden by mist and the busy songs of flowing water. And like me, she recalls every detail of her past. Stella loves the moon with its untroubled smile. I love the feel of the sun on my belly. She says, "It's quite a belly, my friend," and I say, "Thank you, and so is yours." We talk, but not too much. Elephants, like gorillas, do not waste words. Stella used to perform in a large and famous circus, and she still does some of those tricks for our show. During one stunt, Stella stands on her hind legs while Snickers jumps on her head. It's hard to stand on your hind legs when you weigh more than 40 men. If you are a circus elephant and you stand on your hind legs while a dog jumps on your head, you get a treat. If you do not, the claw stick comes swinging. Elephant hide is thick as bark on an ancient tree, but a claw stick can pierce it like a leaf. Once Stella saw a trainer hit a bull elephant with a claw stick. A bull was like a silverback, noble, contained, calm like a cobra is calm. When the claw stick caught the bull's flesh, he tossed the trainer into the air with his tusk. The man flew, Stella said, like an ugly bird. She never saw the bull again. And here is our friend Stella, the elephant. Stella's trunk. Stella's trunk is a miracle. She can pick up a single peanut with elegant precision, tickle a passing mouse, tap the shoulder of a dozing keeper. Her trunk is remarkable, but still, it can't unlatch the door of her tumble-down domain. Circling Stella's legs are long ago scars from the chains she wore as a youth. Her bracelets, she calls them. When she worked at the famous circus, Stella had to balance on a pedestal for her most difficult trick. One day, she fell off and injured her foot. She went lame and lagged behind the other elephants. The circus sold her to Max. Stella's foot never healed completely. She limps when she walks, and sometimes her foot gets infected when she stands in one place for too long. Last winter, Stella's foot swelled to twice its normal size. She had a fever, and she lay on the damp, cold floor of her domain for 5 days. They were very, very long days. Even now, I'm not sure she's completely better. She never complains, though, so it's hard to know. At the Big Top Mall, no one bothers with iron shackles. A bristly rope tied to a bolt in the floor is all that's required. They think I'm too old to cause trouble, Stella says. Old age, she says, is a powerful disguise. All right, we'll start with a plan tomorrow. So as you go to answer your questions today, we're going to think about a few things. You might need to flip back in your book to find the answers to these questions. The first question is going to ask, how does Ivan feel about Not Tag, his stuffed gorilla? We're going to think about how being an artist is important to Ivan, and also about how visitors react when they meet Ivan. Okay, those will be the questions on Schoology. You're typing the answers to send to me so that I can give you a grade for your hard work and thinking. And you can put a bookmark in your book. We'll come back and read more tomorrow. Thank you, scholars.